Hello guys, today we'll be practicing SAT question 5 and I've already begun it. For SAT questions of English test, I recommend starting with grammar section usually, but for now let's start it in a normal way. Question 1 to 27. According to a team of neuroeconomists from University of Zurich, ease of decision making may be linked to communication between two brain regions, the prefrontal cortex and parietal cortex. What I suggest here is active recalling. Like, what is try to understand each sentence, try to summarize each sentence in a word or two. Okay, so the this is talking about communication, and individuals tend to be more decisive if the information flow between the regions is intensified, whereas they make choices more slowly when information flow is the dot. So, more decisive. So intensified, what we need is the opposite of intensified. What can be the opposite of intensified? Reduced, evaluated, detrimented, determined, acquired. So reduced is obvious, the obvious answer. Ecologist Equiel Ezekura and colleagues found that the inhabitants of the Mexican Empire used natural landmarks to track time with a high degree of the dot. Okay, by observing the sun's position in relation to various points on the mountains surrounding the basin of Mexico, the Mexica were able to precisely identify dates when significant events such as this occurred. Okay, in vocabulary question, there is always a synonym. There is either a synonym or an antonym that you are supposed to fill in the blanks with, and the synonym that we are supposed to find here is precisely. Precisely, kind of. It's not exactly the same, but kind of same. So, what can be a synonym for preciseness? Exactitude. This seems like it. Exact. Exactitude. Resilience cannot be the answer. Precariousness. I do not understand the meaning. This also I do not understand the meaning, but this seems like it. It might not be the right answer, but still I'm gonna pick this. So in editor Lisa Yeschek's introduction to her anthology, The Future is Female, More Classic Science Fiction Stories by Women, Yeschek identifies an increasing sense of the dot feminist mode of writing in the 1970s. In contrast to many women authored science fiction stories of the 1920s to 1960s whose politics were less deliberately signaled. Okay, what is this saying? Let me read it again. To our anthology, this is the anthology, and this is the name. Identifies an increasing sense of the dot feminist mode of writing. Uh, okay, increasing sense of, in contrast to many authored science fiction stories to whose politics were less deliberately signaled. Okay, this means other people did not signal it. This author did. So deliberately is the antonym, is the word that we are looking for, and the antonym of deliberately is sorry, deliberately is the synonym of deliberately is what we are looking for. So prudently, prudently, overtly, cordially, inadvertently, deliberately. Uh, I think overtly is the right answer. Synonym of deliberately. I'm not sure, but still, this is what we're looking for. I do not know other meanings. Kiri Leka and colleagues found that the sun's corona provides an advanced indication of solar flares. Intense eruptions of electromagnetic radiation that emanate from active regions of the sun's photosphere can interfere with telecommunications on Earth. Preceding a flare, the corona temporarily exhibits increased brightness above the region where the flare is. Okay, where the flare is intense, found that provides an advanced indication of solar flares. Advanced indication of solar flares. Okay. Preceding the flare, the corona temporarily increased brightness above the region where the flare is. Impending seems like the right answer because where the flare is coming, pending. Yeah. Mm. Still not sure. Vocabularies I cannot be improved. It just you need guts or either know should know the knowledge beforehand. And the following text, okay, now what do I do here is read the first part of the question first. It is asking the main purpose. So after I know this, I go to this section. The narrator is a young college student writing letters detailing her weekly experiences. This gives me the context. And now I read this section. The college is organizing. The narrator is a young college student writing letters detailing our weekly experiences. The college is organizing the freshman basketball team, and there is just a chance that I shall make it. I'm little, of course, but terribly quick and weary and tough. Okay, basketball, and she wants to get in. She's little, but she's small but fast. While others are hopping about in the air, I get doors under their free feet and grab the ball. Okay, she's writing it to herself. And what is the main purpose of the text? To compare basketball with other sports? Not really. To provide details of how it, no, not really. To state how it will be chosen for the basketball team. It does mention it will be chosen, but it does not say how the players will be chosen. So the final answer, to explain why the narrator thinks he might make the basketball team. Yes, because he's fast. And again, the main purpose of the text, researchers have long hypothesized that woolly mammoths were hunted to extinction in North America by humans using spears with group tips known as, okay, spears. I am actively trying to summarize the sentence. Spears and woolly mammoth hunted. This is the summary of the first line. One anthropologist set out to test this hypothesis using a mechanical spear thrower. He launched spears with clovis points into mounds of clay, substitute for an animal's large bodies. So this seems like an important point. Uh, the projectiles generally penetrated only a few inches into the clay, an amount insufficient to have harmed most woolly mammals. This led to the anthropologists to conclude that hunters using spears with clovis points likely were the principal drivers of extinctions. Okay, so this is the hypothesis, and no, this is not. The clovis point spears did not kill the mammoths. This is the conclusion. So, to argue the significance of new findings amid ongoing debate among researchers. This might be the answer. To discuss the advantages and of the methods used in an experiment. No method is being used in an experiment. So, yeah, the method is being used, but it does not explain the uh, advantages or disadvantages of it. To summarize two competing hypotheses and measure finding associated with each one. There are no two hypotheses, so there's only one hypothesis. To describe an experiment whose result can cast doubt on an established hypothesis. This is the right answer, I think, because this is describing an experiment, and the hypothesis was the result came opposite of the hypothesis. So yeah, according to the text, why do some historians suggest about Maya civilization? The ancient writing system used in Maya kingdoms of southern Mexico and Central America had symbol for number zero. Okay, the earliest known example of the symbol dates to more than 2000 years ago. At that time, almost none of the writing systems elsewhere in the world possessed a zero symbol. Okay, this civilization did had number zero, and that dated around 2000 years ago, and no other civilization had that. And the use of zero in Mexico and Central America may be even more ancient. Some historians suggest that Maya mathematicians inherited it from Olmec civilization, which flourished in the region around it this much years ago. Maya civilization acquired the use of zero from, yeah, this might be true. Maya civilization respected its historians more than it respected its mathematicians. Not really. Uh, the text doesn't mention it at all. Maya civilization was highly secretive about. Not really. The text doesn't mention it. The Maya civilization tried to introduce its writing system to other civilizations. Not really. So yeah, this is the right answer. What is the main idea of the text? A subject of much speculation. Distinctive sets of parallel ridges mark the icy crust of Europa, Jupiter's smallest moon. Okay, and researchers now claim that the ridge's formation mechanism mirrors that of a strikingly similar pair of Greenland's ice sheet. Their surface water seeped through fissures in the sheet and formed a water pocket that subsequently disrupted the overlying ice, forcing fragments of it upwards and outward into peaks as the pocket froze and expanded. Okay. We are talking about Europa, and the ice sheet mechanism seems similar to that of Greenland, that is in Earth. And although Europa lacks a liquid surface water, the same process could be driven by the moon's subsurface ocean. So this is describing a process, and although the process requires this subsurface water, but yeah, this can be possible in Europa. That is what the researchers are saying. So researchers think that the ridges of on Europa and the ridges in Greenland may have been formed by the same process, even though Europa, unlike Greenland, doesn't have liquid water. This is exactly the question. as exactly the text. The primary difference between the results on Europa and is unlike Europa results. Uh, this is not strikingly similar, so no difference there. It's not talking about the difference. The pair of ridges found ice sheet appear to have formed long before. Not really. It does not talk about the timeline. Researchers don't understand why Europa is marked by so many ridges when no, they think that it's the same process as of Greenland, so this is the right answer, I think. And main idea of the text: to understand how Paleolithic artists navigated dark caves, archaeologist A. Michael Angelus Median this and her team tested different lighting methods in a cave in Spain using replicas of artifacts found in European caves with art. They used three different Paleolithic light sources: torches, animal fat, lamps, and fireplaces, determining that each likely had a specific purpose. For instance, the team learned that the animal fat lamps were less useful than torches while walking because the lamps didn't illuminate the cave floor. Okay. Medina Al-Qaeda and her team's study demonstrated that fireplaces were essential to the creators of does not talk about fireplace, so not really. Made this and her team discovered that Paleolithic cave artists in Spain used animal fat lamps more often than they used torches. Not really. It says it is less useful. So, Medina Al Qaeda and her team were reluctant to draw many conclusions from their study because of the difficulty they had replicating light sources based on known artifacts. I don't think this is the right answer either. Medina Al Qaeda and her team tested Paleolithic light sources and learned some details about how Paleolithic artists traveled within dark caves. Yeah, this is the main idea of the text. Okay, we have to you look at the graph now. First of all, what I suggest is read this, which is most effectively uses data from the graph to support the underlying claim, and read this, skim through this. Total science research submissions, number of submissions. Okay, topics by year and number of submissions, and this is different types of in this is these are the different fields. A student is researching the trends in topics submitted to a national science fair for high school students. The graph shows the number of submissions by topic that were made each year. Based on the data in the graph, the student claims that there were more medicine and health research topics submitted in 2019 than any other year. Okay, more medicine and health. Okay, so this is true. So in 2016, the number of cellular and molecular biology topics we are talking about, the hypothesis or the claim is about medicine and health. So we disregard this claim, this option. In there were more physics, not really. The lowest number of animal science topic submission, not really. The highest number of medicine and health topic submission during the period is shown approximately 285 in 2019. This is the claim. So yeah, which quotation from Looking Back on Girlhood most effectively illustrates this claim? What is the claim? In the story, the narrator explains that she prefers her hometown to other places she has visited. So, preferring over other places. This is the summary. There's always something fresh, something to be traced or discovered, something particularly to be remembered. It does not have any mention of hometown. Two large rivers join just below the village at the head of a tide water, and these, with great inflow from the sea, make a significant, magnificent stream bordered by lovely green fields that slope gently to the long walls. Does not mention hometown or other places. I have a good deal of journeying in my life and taken delight in it, but I have never taken greater delight than in my rides and drives and triumphs and voyages within the borders of my own native town. This seems like the answer. There is never ending pleasure in making oneself familiar with such a reason. Does not compare to reasons. So, which response from a survey given to the shoppers who made a purchase at a retail store best supports the researcher's explanation? External shopping queues are a type of marketing that uses obvious messaging, a display of featuring a new product, for example, buy one get one free offer, to entice customers to make spontaneous purchases. Okay, this is a technique to make customers buy things. In a study, data scientists this and colleagues found that this effect can also be achieved with a less obvious cue, rearranging a store's layout. Okay, this can also be achieved with less obvious things. The researchers explain that trying to find items in new locations causes shoppers to move through more of the store, exposing them to more products and increasing the likelihood that they will buy an item if they hadn't planned on purchasing. So, displaying means more purchase. This is our conclusion of the summary of our conclusion. I needed to buy. Okay, and they are surveying the shoppers. So, uh, yeah. Uh, what is the conclusion? We need to describe it in more detail. If we expose the items, then they will buy it. More exposure, more purchase, even though they did not needed it. They did not need it. I needed to buy some cleaning supplies, but they weren't in the real place. While I was looking for them, I saw this interesting notebook and decided to buy it too. This might be the answer. I didn't buy everything on my shopping list today. I couldn't find, even though I looked all over them. Not really. We need to buy. This conclusion is about the purchase. The store sent me a coupon for a new brand of soup. So I came here to find out what kinds of soup that brands offer. I decided to buy a few cans because I had common coupon. She's wanting to buy a soup and she buys the soup. Not so the conclusion does not match this. And this store is larger than one that's closer to where I live, and it carries more products. I came here to buy some things that the other store doesn't always have. It does not say anything about how showing more products makes you buy that product. So this is the right answer. Even most logically inference question. Okay, even with the widespread adoption of personal computers, many authors still choose to write and revise their novels by hand and only then transcribe the final version on a computer. It may be tempting to speculate about how a novel written this way would be affected if it had been given exclusively typed instead. But each novel is a unique entity resulting from a specific set of circumstances. So people write through hands and not by computer, even though computer is widely available. But if they had been if the novel had been typed all in all, it would have been different because the it is the result of specific set of circumstances. That is our uh, explaining it in our own words. So most logically completing the text. In order to increase their efficiency, authors who currently write their novels largely should instead. The text does not indicate anything about the what the other authors should do. Authors who do most of their drafting and revising likely have more success. Does not talk about success. Novels written by hand take less time to produce on average than novels does not matter. There is no way to reasonably evaluate. Yes, this is what the text is talking about. Behavioral ecologists Will Wingings, Sarah Bounds, and Sean Wilder recently examined the behavior of field collected and laboratory reared bold jumping spiders. They found a positive association between experimental high protein diets and aggressive behavior in field collected males, and a similar association between experimental high lipid diets and aggressive behavior in lab reared females. Let me read it again. Behavioral ecologists, okay, recently examined behavior of field collected and laboratory. Okay, they have examined two types of spider. They found a positive association between positive means direct association, high protein diets, and aggressive behavior, okay, in field collected spiders, okay, and similar positive association between high lipid diets and aggressive behavior in lab reared males, okay. Additionally, field collected spiders showcase a preference for flowers manipulated to display ultraviolet fluorescence, whereas lab reared spiders showcase a preference for flowers dyed with red food coloring that was not fluorescent, okay. Wingings Bounce and therefore concluded that it seems text seems to suggest the subtle differences between lab reared and field collected spiders, but they are not so obvious differences, not exact contrasting, but kind of similar, kind of subtle differences. So, rearing conditions likely affect responses of bold jumping spiders to experimental stimuli. This seems like the right answer. Being raised in laboratory setting reduces aggression. Not really laboratory settings because both are aggressive. Laboratory settings are more suitable for studying bold. Not really. Experiments involving bold jumping spiders should make use of lab-reared individuals. Not really. So this is the comparison, and this is the right answer. Okay, in forecasting weather events, meteorologists sometimes discuss the role of atmospheric rivers. What are atmospheric rivers and how do that affect our weather? How do they affect our weather? What are atmospheric rivers and how do they affect our weather? Uh, Part of water cycle. Atmospheric rivers are narrow channels of moisture moving through the atmosphere. The question is whether full stop or question mark, or should we do they affect our weather or they do affect our weather? How they do affect our weather? How they do affect our weather does not seem to make sense. So it's do they affect our weather? And what are atmospheric rivers and how do they affect our weather? This starts with a what, so I would go for a question mark. How do they affect our weather? What are atmospheric rivers and how do they affect our weather? Seems like the right answer. The soundtrack, another grammar question, and it's about it's or it is, possessive or it is. Most likely it's this. And yeah, protagonists. Okay. The soundtrack to Mira Nair's 1991 film Mississippi Masala expressively captures the clashing of cultures that happens when it's two protagonists. Okay, two protagonists. Since there are two protagonists, we use a plural, protagonists. This is the right answer. Julia, okay, the question is about punctuation and okay, this is only used if there are two independent sentences. This is used otherwise. Okay, I understand. Julia Alvarez's 1994 novel In the Time of Butterflies, a fictionalized account of the lives of Mirabal sisters. Uh, sisters can serve Mirabal sisters. Okay, this is cannot be used since it needs to be a dependent clause. Fictionalized Julius novel. This seems like the right answers because a fictionalized account of the life of Mirabal sisters looks feels it is the unnecessary clause. So it needs to be separated with commas. Uh, the question is all about punctuation again. Ever given on an international shipping container vessel became lost in Egypt's Suez Canal, a major shipping route between Europe and Asia. The vessel took 6 days to dislodge. It's heavy as 2,000 blue whales when fully loaded. This seems like the right answer. In part due to its sheer size, it's as heavy as 2,000 blue whales when fully loaded. This part is explaining, so we need this right now, right here, and this the whole section after this loss is the unnecessary part. Woven from recycled yarn and hand tufted using carpet weaving technique passed down by the artist's Turkish grandmother. The dot so lost and tactically inviting that you are tempted to reach out and touch them. Woven from recycled, what are woven from recycled and hand tufted using carpet weaving technique? Okay, something that needs to be woven. It's definitely the Argentine textile artist. No, the artist cannot be woven. The topological tapestries of Argentine textile artist? Not really. When she creates her topological tapestries. Okay, this can't be the answer. This can't be the answer. These both are referring to uh the artist as being woven when she creates her topological tapestries. Not really, because this is again C comes here first. So topological tapestries looks like the right answer because it needs to what is woven? The topological tapestries. And Jamaican British artist William Wigan is known for his remarkable microsculptures, creations so small that they are best weaved through a microscope. Okay. Wigan's sculptures are made from tiny natural materials such as spiderweb and strands. For his remarkable microsculptures, I know. Okay, now uh, what does this if this this the creations so small that they are best viewed through a microscope seems like unnecessary part. So yeah, this comma needs to separate the both sides. After appropriate permissions are granted, a typical archaeological dig begins with the surveyor making a detailed grid of the excavation site. Then the site is carefully dug and any artifacts found are recorded and mapped onto the site grid. The artifacts are removed, catalogued, and analyzed in the laboratory. This question is trying to follow a line. For example, this is done first, then this part is done second, and finally this is done. So finally would be a right answer, and we have the option finally also. For instance, on the contrary, earlier, finally, yes. Okay, this again transition question. For transition questions, I recommend not to look at this part first. Just try to look at this. Try to come up with a prediction and then compare your prediction with what sounds right in this part. In 1949, Frank Zamboni developed an ice rink resurfacing machine. As Zamboni's machine removed along the rink's surface, it first scraped off the top layer of ice. The dirt it spread water onto the deep grooves left behind by customers' stake. Lastly, it smoothed over the newly formed ice. Similar to the previous question, this follows a pattern. First this happened, then this happened, then this happened. So next, next seems like the right answer. And again, transition question. In the 1880s, inventor Lewis Latimer improved upon Thomas Edison's design for the electric light bulb. The Latimer made the bulb more durable by placing cardboard around its carbon filament. With this innovation, became the first black inventor to contribute to the electrification of the world. Okay, mm, this seems to have specified how this line seems to have specified given an example on how did this Lewis Latimer improve the electric light bulb. So specifically seems like the right answer. And regardless, and again a trick for transition questions, regardless, however, are both for contradicting sentences. If you are to join contradicting sentences, you use however, nevertheless, regardless, things like that. So both can't be the right answer since they are both similar. And soon it's time time related transition. So not really. Next, okay, for this kind of questions, you might have already known, but we do not need to read this side. We just read this the topic and choose the right answer based on it. The student wants to emphasize the similarity between Choctaw code talkers and Navajo code talkers. Okay, a similarity is what we need. In US soldiers who were members of Choctaw Nation in Oklahoma used their native language to relay coded information. Code talkers and Navajo code talkers. It does not talk about this Navajo code talkers in World War II. One group of Navajo soldiers was known as, not really. This does not talk about code, Choctaw code talkers. Both the Choctaw code talkers and Navajo, both, since the first letter starts with both. In the first, set, like in the part one of English, the questions are easy. So if you see the obvious ones, they are more likely to be correct. But in the second part, you need to be more careful with these types of options. But since it starts with both and we're asked similarity, this feels like the right answer. Let's check the rest one. The Choctaw code talkers, not Navajo code talkers, served in World War One. Okay, this is not a similarity, it's more of a difference. The student wants to explain an advantage of ICAA's archive being digital. Okay, advantage. We need to explain an advantage. Over 10,000 documents related to the history of Latin American and Latino visual art are a part of. This does not explain the advantage. By offering online versions of historical documents, the ICAA's archive provides more access to these materials without removing them from their countries of origin. This explains the advantage of the archive. This might be the answer. Among the historical documents in the ICAA's archive are the writings of Latin. This does not explain the advantage. The ICAA's director oversaw the creation of an online archive of historical documents related to Latin. Okay, this also does not explain the advantage. This is the B, so B is the right answer. The student wants to use a quotation to support a claim about Tharpe's contribution to rock and roll. We need to see a quotation. Gospel musicians, Tharpa had major impact on rock and roll, and she was working. Okay, this does not use a quotation. Celeste Henderson believes that Sister Rosetta Tharpe had a major impact on the development of rock and roll. Does not use a quotation. Wants to use a quotation to support Tharpe's contribution. Sister Rosetta Tharpe had such a major impact on rock and roll that Celeste Henderson called her the unquestioned founding mother of the genre. Student wants to use a quotation to support a claims about Tharpe's contribution. This might be the right answer. A gospel musician sister had the ability to sing until you cried and also until you danced for joy, according to Roxy Moore. Okay, both of these seem like the right answer. So what we need to do is look at the notes now. According to the songwriter Roxy Moore, because this might not be consistent, one of them might not be consistent with the notes. Tharpe would sing until you cried, and then they would sing until you danced for joy. Okay, uh, what we need to do is for we need to choose an answer that shows Tharpe's contribution, and this does not show contribution. This uses a quote but does not show contribution, and this choice shows the contribution, the unquestioned founding mother. So this is the right answer. Yeah. Now we will be doing practice test 2. We need to do the part 2 a little bit faster. Mary Angel Pennington, a chemist who helped advance home refrigeration, undoubtedly made a substantial impact on society, but her place in our historical memory is perhaps more the dot than that of the dot who invented the incredibly strong material known as Kevlar, an accomplishment for what she has will be long remembered. Perhaps more undoubtedly made a significant impact on society, but her place in historical. Okay, what do we need is it seems like her place is less relevant than the second person we're talking about. So prominent is important. This is not the right answer. Permanent, again a positive theme. Tentative seems like an estimation. Warranted, I do not know the meaning, but prominent can't be the right answer since uh, but her places in her historical is more prominent, more important. I do not think this her contribution is her place in memory is more important. So I'm choosing this. It might not be the right answer, but still, to demonstrate that the integrity of underground metal pipes can be assessed without unearthing the pipes, engineer Aruba Salim and colleagues deduct the tendency of some metals' internal magnetic fields to alter under stress. The team showed that such alterations can be measured from a distance and can reveal concentrations of stress in the pipes. Aruba Salim and colleagues to demonstrate that the integrity of underground metal pipes can be assessed without unearthing the pipes. Colleagues, the tendency of some materials internal magnetic field to enter under stress. Okay, what the colleagues used the tendency, so they are utilizing this tendency, so exploited seems like the right answer. Redefined, discounted, hypothesized, all. Yeah. Despite the generalizations about human behavior they have produced, many studies of behavioral psychology have used highly unrepresentative subject pools. Students at colleges and universities where the researchers are employed. Despite the generalization about human behavior they have produced, many studies of behavioral psychology have used highly unrepresentative subject pools. To dot this situation, it is necessary to actively recruit subjects from diverse backgrounds and locations. We need to get rid of this situation. So postulate, hypothesize, rationalize is not it. A sanction is to stop. Ameliorate means to, I do not know the meaning, but to sanction the situation or ameliorate the situation. Sanction is complete stop. I do not think the word is that extreme. So ameliorate, although I do not know the meaning, I'm choosing this option. Though not closely related, the hedgehog-tinged wrecks of Madagascar share basic true hedgehogs, including protective spines, pointed snouts, and small body size. Traits the two groups of mammals independently developed in response to equivalent roles in their respective habitats. Though not closely related, share basic similarities with true hedgehogs. So these hedgehogs share basic similarities with these hedgehogs. Similarities with true hedgehogs. Okay, yeah. And while recent scholarship has undermined claims that the works of 12th century Islamic philosopher were the dot other Muslim philosophers of his time, it is indisputable that his location of Muslim ruled area of what is now Spain meant that his works were primarily available thousands of miles west of Era center. Okay, undermined. Undermined claims that the works of 12th century philosopher were inconsequential. This seems like a comparison. So other Muslim philosophers seem to have more impact than this philosopher. It is indisputable. Yeah, this seems like the right answer. Okay, now we need to hurry up. Which choice best describes the function of the underlined portion in the text as a whole? Israel is a young man wandering through New England during the late 18th century. He hired himself out for 3 months. At the end of the time, to receive for his wages 200 acres of land lying in New Hampshire. His employer providing false to contract in the matter of the land, and there being no law in the country to force him to fulfill it. Israel, who, however brave-hearted and even much of a daredevil upon a pinch, seems nevertheless to have evinced throughout many parts of his career a singular patience and mildness, was obliged to look around for other means of livelihood than clearing out a farm for himself in the wilderness. Okay, this guy seems like to the employer of this Israel guy seems to have made a false contract, and although, and this is describing the character of Israel, although he is powerful, he fights for himself. He does not care about he's not really doing anything about his current situation. So yeah, okay, this is the function of the underlying text. It implies that Israel treasures a particular characteristic of his personality when the characteristic should be usually regarded as a flaw. Not really. It suggests that if not for a certain aspect of his character, Israel might not have been easily thwarted in his ambition to establish a farm. Not really, since uh, yeah, this is talking the opposite of this part. If you do not understand, please read it again. It shows why Israel would not have been able to undertake the enormous amount of labor necessary to run. It does not talk about the labor required at all. It explains why, when the situation requires it, Israel is able to undertake courageous acts than that others would generally avoid. This seems like the answer. This seems to express the character of Israel. So I'm choosing D. It might be B, but I'm still choosing Z. D. Which choice best describes the overall structure of the text? Changes to vegetation, to cover, and other human activities influence carbon and nitrogen levels in the soil. Though how deep these effects extends is unclear. Okay. Hypothesizing that differences in land use lead to differences in carbon and nitrogen levels that are not restricted to top soil layer. These colleagues sampled soils across multiple land use types within each of several Ethiopian locations. They found, though, that across land use types, carbons and nitrogen decreased to comparatively low levels beyond depth of 30 centimeter. Okay, so the hypothesis is that uh, the land use will not are not restricted to topsoil layer, right? Topsoil layer, the land use will not decrease carbon dioxide and nitrogen level. That is, and decreasing is not restricted to topsoil layer. And what they found was across land use types decreased to comparatively low levels beyond depths of 30 centimeter also. So the hypothesis is matching the conclusion. It describes a phenomenon that scientists do not fully understand, explains a research team's hypothesis about that phenomenon, and then it describes a finding to refine the hypothesis. Do they refine the hypothesis? Not really. It introduces an unresolved scientific question, presents a research team's hypothesis pertaining to that question, and then describes an observation that conflicts with that hypothesis. Does not conflict with that hypothesis. It does not. It discusses a process that scientists are somewhat unclear about, introduces competing hypotheses about that process, then explains how a research team concluded that those hypothesis is likely correct. This seems like the right answer. It explains a hypothesis that has been the subject of debate, discusses how a research team tested the hypothesis, then presents the data the team collected, then validate the hypothesis. Uh, not really. There has not been talk about debate. This the second part matches the structure, but this is the right answer since the first part of this quiz choice D does not match. Based on text out, author 2 most likely referred to the claim of underlined text in author 1. Efforts to automate classifications of painting into different artistic styles have little success, and we have probably reached the technological limit of its work. Furthermore, it's not obvious that this is even a useful endeavor, as several critics have argued. Differences between artistic styles are inherently subjective and are not often the best way to understand relationships between works. Baroque paintings utilize a very similar color palette as Renaissance painting did to depict largely the same subject that Renaissance painting depicted. Automated artistic styles classifiers often struggle to draw distinction between these two styles, but Ravneet Singh Arora and Ahmed Al Gamal were able to achieve a high degree of accuracy in Baroque and Renaissance comparisons by running one classification model atop another, an approach that demonstrated how much innovation is possible in this realm. Okay, this text says we cannot differentiate the works. This text says there is more innovation required to differentiate the paintings. By emphasizing that there are still advances being made in automatic artistic style classification. This might be the correct answer. By criticizing previous research into automated artistic style classification systems for focusing, not really. By arguing that most people are not able to correctly identify the extreme choices directly eliminated. This is one of those extreme choices. By suggesting that people may eventually develop more uniform and accepted ideas about artistic styles and their boundaries. This does not talk about people's choices at all. So A seems like the right answer. It can be most reasonably inferred from the text that the finding about microorganism community composition was important for which reason? To understand how temperature change affects microorganism mediated cycling of soil nutrients in alpine ecosystems. Okay, microorganism, soil nutrient. Collected plant soil cores in Tatra mountains at the elevations of around 2100 meters and then transplanted them to elevations of this 100 meters where mean air temperature was warmer by 2 degrees centigrade. Microorganisms mediated nutrient cycling was accelerated in the transplanted cores. Crucially, microorganism community composition was unchanged, allowing to attribute the acceleration to the temperature induced increases in microorganism activity. So what do we get? We get microorganism temperature activity increase. This is the summary. It provided preliminary evidence that microorganism mediated nutrient cycling was accelerated in the transplanted core. From the text, the finding about was important. The microorganism community composition was important. Why was the microorganism community composition important? That was unchanged, right? It provided preliminary evidence that microorganism nutrient was accelerated in the transplanted core. It provided evidence that temperature was the main factor. So it suggested that temperature induced changes in microorganism may be occurring at increasingly high elevations. Not really. It ruled out a potential alternative explanation for the acceleration in microorganism mediated nutrient cycling. This is the right answer since we have concluded that temperature plays the only role and microorganism community composition remains the same. So yeah, this is the right answer. Which choice most effectively uses data from the table to complete the statement? To test whether a so for this we need to read this, we need to skim through this. Global improvement, mean rating. Okay, to test whether a medication is effective, scientists compare outcomes for patients taking it and patients taking a placebo. Patients normally aren't told that they are receiving a placebo, but the research team conducted a study to see if there might be a medical benefit to telling them. The team used various measures to evaluate participants with higher ratings, indicating greater well being in each measure. Compared to the mean ratings after 21 days for participations in the control group, the mean ratings for participations were over the placebo. What do we need here? Compared to the mean ratings after 21 days for participants in the control group, the mean ratings for participants who were aware of taking a placebo. Global improvement, mean rating of participants in the control group taking an improvement, severe reduction, quality of life improvement. Okay, ranged, what do we need? Ranged from 5 to 92, indicating the well-being, varied widely from participants to participants. This seems to connect two different tables. Were lower for two measures with the rating for one, only one measure indicating greater well-being for these participants. Ranged from 3.9 to 46, with no rating indicating Okay, wait. The mean ratings for we're aware of taking a placebo. So this is the only thing we need to care about. We're higher for all three measures, indicating greater overall well-being for these participants. This is the right answer. And which choice best describes data from the graph that supports the researcher's conclusion? Mean test scores, first second term exams, no leave. Okay. To investigate potential cognitive benefits of taking leave from work, psychologists conducted a 6-month study of Austrian university staff members who took no leave from work. During the study took this much and this much leave. Tests of attentiveness were administered to participants 3 times during the study at random for the no leave staff, and for rest 1 week before their leave, 1 week following their return to work, and 1 week after second test administration. After analyzing the results, the researchers concluded that longer leave times might not confer a greater cognitive benefit than shorter leave times do. Okay, what do we need? Longer leave times and shorter leave times do not allow better benefits, things like that. In the second that supports the researcher's conclusion. So what do we need is we need to compare these two leave times, longer and shorter leave times. In the first second test administration, participants who took 2 to 4 days of leave had higher average attentiveness score than those who do not took no leave. But in the third test administration, not really. We need to compare these two things. In the participants who took leave had lower average attentiveness score than did those who took leave and those who took no leave. We do not care about the first test. We only care about the second and third test. In both the second and third test administration, participants who took 2 to 4 days of leave had higher average attentiveness scores than did the participants who took 1 to 5 days of leave. This seems like the right answer. Participants who took leave had higher average scores than those who took no leave. We had to compare these two people. So yeah, this is the right answer. Use the data to. It may seem that the optimal strategy for an animal pursuing prey. The time is low, so I'm doing fast, right? Uh, or escaping predators is to move at maximal speed, but the energy expense of exploiting full speed capacity can disfavor such a strategy even in escape context, as evidenced by the fact that most lizards escaping while escaping and while pursuing. Pursuing prey or escaping predators is to move at maximum, but the energy full capacity can disfavor such a strategy even in escape context by the fact that uh, most lizard species use the same percentage of their maximal speed when skipping. Not really. Most multiple lizard species move at an average of less than 90% of their maximal uh, speed while skipping prediction. This is the right answer. More lizard species use on average 90 to 100% of their maximal speed while skipping prediction than any other than and use of any other percentage. At least 4 lizard on average less than 100%. Not really. We do not care about pursuing. Poetry is 19. Okay, the poem highlights an ambivalence towards ambivalence means confusion towards poetry, as speaker acknowledges its merits while also expressing a sense of displeasure. Okay, we need to compare merits and displeasure in the same sentence. Nor is it valid to discriminate against business documents and school books. All these phenomena are important. It does not talk about poetry at all. One must make a distinction. However, when dragged into prominence by half poets, the result is not poetry. This seems like the right answer, but I do not fully understand this, so I'm looking at the next. When poems become so derivative as to become unintelligible, the same thing may be said for all of us, that we do not admire what we cannot understand. Does it say about does this thing mention displeasure? Uh, this does not mention displeasure. This does not give a tone of displeasure. So, reading poetry, however, with a perfect contempt for it, one discovers that there is in it, after all, a place for the genuine. It does express merits, but does it express displeasure? I do not understand it. Reading poetry, however, with a perfect contempt for it, one discovers that there is in it, after all, a place for the genuine. I do not think this expresses displeasure. One must make a distinction. However, when dragged into prominence by half poets, the result is not poetry. Does this acknowledges its merits? Hmm, I do not know which is the right answer, nor is it validated to discriminate against. This is not the right answer. When poems become so derivative as to become unintelligible, the same thing may be said for all of us, that we do not admire what we cannot understand. This does not. do merit and displeasure at the same time in the same line. Reading poetry, however, with a perfect contempt for it, one discovers that there is in it, after all, a place for the genuine. Merits and displeasure. This seems like the right answer, but I do not know why is the right answer. By the process of elimination, this can't be the right answer. This can't be the right answer because does not talk about merit at all and does not talk about displeasure also. And one must make a distinction, however, when dragged into prominence by half poets. Okay, I'm choosing this by eliminating others. Which way is most logically confirm? Okay, the Cretaceous is known for having an anomalously oversized head crest until and almost. Okay, this is about dinosaur. They initially thought it flew, but it walked also, and it flight difficult, walking comfortable, and based on these findings, suggest that flew for longer distances than did that oversized head crest. Suggests that T navigants likely flew for longer distances. Why would they fly for longer distances? At a smaller head than researchers expected, based on earlier skull specimens. Flew for shorter distances and spent more time walking. I think this is the right answer because initially they thought and it became the opposite thing, which choice most logically completes the text. Actions depends on your actions, irrespective of the context in which they are carried out. Okay, Aztec, they're comparing moral goodness as an activity or an action versus uh, but the Aztec believe that it is also the context in which goodness is done matters. So yeah, what do they suggest? What do the Aztecs suggest? The Aztecs would have disputed the idea that morality of an individual's action can be assessed by appealing to standards of behavior that are independent of the individual social circumstances. Would have disputed the idea. Yeah, they would have disputed the idea. This seems like the right answer. The Aztecs would not have accepted the notion that the morality of an individual's action can be fairly evaluated. We do not leave does not talk about different society. Actions by members of Aztec society who contributed a great deal to their community could be judged as morally good, even if those actions were inconsistent. Not really. Similar actions performed by people in different social roles would have been regarded as morally equivalent unless those actions lead to a different outcomes for the community. Not really. It does not. It only compares the action with the circumstance. So this is seems like the right answer. Okay, now grammar. We need to speed run on this. The Boston Saloon was one of the most popular African American owned establishment in the 19th century. Developed by businessmen, the saloon was known to offer elegant accommodations and created. In a painting titled Milk Made by Jonas Vermeer, the artist prominently features such as such quotidian objects depicted in exquisite detail by Vermeer, a painter celebrated for nationalism. The daily minutiae of a 17th century Dutch household reveals such objects depicted in reveal. Okay, objects reveal. Yeah, objects reveal. And also was, has, reveal. All singular. Plural is most likely the right answer. Uh, about punctuation. Clear glass, which is classified as transparent, allows all or almost all light to pass through. Okay. Wax paper, which is allows only some light to pass through. Allows all light to pass through. Okay, since we are comparing only two, clear glass and wax paper, I think and would be the right choice. Underlying. Okay. Uh, Sociologists first explored at length her conception of sociology of emotions, the idea that various cultural and ideological frameworks of a person has internalized class, gender, political affiliation, etc. Each emotion reaction that the person has within a situation. first explored at length our conception of a sociology of emotion. The idea that various cultures and ideological frameworks of a person has internalized various so underlie. Latin America is only known to have dozen, if not hundreds, of popular dance forms. Only five of these dances are included in the international ballroom dance competitions. Uh, however, only five. However, this sentence seem to include however. So it has to be one of these. This can't be the right answer. Rumba, Samba, Cha-Cha, Paso, and Jebe, the last of which is grouped with other Latin dances despite not having Latin roots. The last of which is grouped with other Latin dances. Mm, okay, this looks like the right answer since we do not have a complete sentence uh, in this part. This is just explaining. For thousands of years, humans have used domesticated goats to clear land of unwanted vegetation. When it comes to their diets, goats are notoriously indiscriminate. They will devour all kinds of shrubs and weeds, leaving virtually no part of any plant unconsumed. If we were to use this, it would imply that this is the unnecessary part. If we were to use this, it would be a run-on sentence. So this is the explanation, and I think notoriously indiscriminate, and it is explaining how they are indiscriminate. So a colon would be the right choice for it. A transition. She found that the snowpack, the amount of snow on the ground, was deepest in early March at lower elevations. At higher elevations, the snowpacks was deepest in mid March. Okay, this seems like a contrast. So, in on the other hand, seems like the right choice. A contrast. According to Duverger's law, countries with single ballot majoritarian elections for single member districts tend to polarize into two party systems, wherein dueling political parties consistently dominate the political system. The countries with proportional representation, electoral systems tend to support. Uh, okay, this also seems like a contradiction, but let me read it again. Countries with single ballot majoritarian system elections versus countries with proportional electoral systems. I think conversely is the right answer. And a turtle cell appears external to the animal, protecting its body like armor. The cell is often incorrectly assumed to be an exoskeleton or visit outer casing, like that of a crustacean or an insect. Appears external. This is not a contrast. Some people might think this is a contrast, so however might be used, but I do not think this is a contrast. This is more like an addition. So hence addition, for instance, the cell is often protecting its body like cell appears external to the animal. Hence the cell is often, however, that being said, the cell is often exoskeleton. Mm, when no, it is in fact an endoskeleton. To be an exoskeleton when it is, however, for instance, the cell is often, for instance, no, it's not an example. That being said, that being said, and however seems both are contrasting, so hence is the right answer. In retrospect, one of the lessons of the 2003 Human Genome Project is that a gene is affected by many factors, not the least of which is its interactions with the protein products of other genes. Rather than just focusing on human genome, efforts to better understand gene mutations related to diseases have been begun to consider the human proteome, the complete set of proteins expressed by human genes. Is that a gene is affected by many factors? Okay, rather than just focusing on the human genome. In other words, no, not in other words. This does not explain in other words. That said, however, however is however the right choice. is that a gene is affected by many factors, not the least of which is its interactions with the protein products of other genes. However, rather than just focusing on human genome, efforts to better understand gene mutations related to disease have begun to consider human proteome, the complete set of proteins expressed by human genes. However, does not seem like the right answer. Accordingly seems like the right answer. Accordingly, rather than that said, for example, for example, hmm, okay, accordingly, I'm choosing accordingly. I'm not sure. The student wants to emphasize a similarity between two sculptures. Students aspires depicts two figures supporting each other. Recognition and student aspire both show African American figures in poses that symbolize supportive relationships. This might be the answer. Cattell completed recognition in 1970. We need to show a similarity. The figures in recognition have features that have rounded and indistinct, while the figures have sharply defined features. So this is the right answer, similarity. The student wants to indicate which category most routine diplomatic correspondence belongs in, based on how sensitive information is classified. Okay, which category does this belong in? Good. Routine diplomatic correspondence. It belongs in, if disclosed, could cause damage, but not serious damage to national security. Okay, so not could cause damage, but not serious damage. So cause damage is confidential. So we need to do confidential. According to US government, which classifies such sensitive information as routine diplomatic correspondence, confidential information could damage national security if disclosed. It does not classify the routine this. We have routine diplomatic and confidential in same sentence, but it does not classify. It is not classifying that. Most routine correspondence is classified according to the degree of which could affect the national security. It does not classify which degree. It is saying which degree, but it does not classify a specific degree. Having the potential to damage national security if disclosed, most routine diplomatic correspondence is classified as confidential. This is the right answer. If disclosed, communication between both allies and adversaries could affect the nation's security. I'm looking at this again. In retrospect, one of the lessons of the 2003 Human Genome Project is that a gene is affected by many factors, not the least of which is its interactions with the protein products of other genes. Okay, rather than just focusing on human genome, efforts to better understand gene mutations data have begun to consider the human proteome, the complete set of proteins expressed by human genes. Accordingly, accordingly, it should be a follow up if we're using accordingly. I don't think this is a follow up. So that said is not however. I said it was however, but I do not think it's however. So I'm choosing that said. Second guesses are never correct. Still, I'm choosing that said. So with this, we have this over. I'm guessing 6 to 7 questions are wrong. Or it can be more than that. It can go up to 12 questions wrong. But still, thank you for watching. Please check out math test as well. We will be resuming, and I'll be uploading in a different video the math test. So yeah. Uh, so hello guys again, and today we will be doing practice test 5 of the math section. I have already done English section. You can watch the video of the English section in the YouTube channel, and we will be following through the math section. I'm not an expert, I'm not a teacher, I'm just a student trying to practice on YouTube. So yeah, let's begin. A veterinarian recommends that each day a certain rabbit should eat 25 calories per pound of rabbit's weight, plus an additional 11 calories. Which equation represents this situation? Where C is the total number of calories the veterinarian recommends. Okay, C is the total number of calories. So it should eat about 25 per pound of body weight and plus 11 calories. This is the right answer. A special camera is used for underwater ocean research. The camera is at a depth of 39 fathoms. What is the camera's depth in feet? Okay, 39, 39. into 6. It's 234 feet deep. In the figure, line M is parallel to line N. K intersects both lines. Which of the following statement is true? The value of x is equal to 145 since they are vertically opposite angles. The function f represents the total cost in dollars of attending an arcade when x games are played. How many games can be played for a total cost of $58? Okay, 58 is our fx right now. What we need to do is equals to 14 plus 4x. With this, I hope they give the answer for x 11, and let me check it. 14 plus 4 times 11 should come out 58. Yes, this is the right answer. If 4x minus 28 is equals to minus 24, what is the value of x minus 7? For this, we are just taking x, we are taking 4 common out of this. Since 28 divided by 4 is 7, we get minus 24 divided by 4 minus 6. Uh, Minus 6 is the right answer. Minus 24 divided by 4 minus 6. Yes. If the amount of Hannah's bill for a food order was $50, Hannah gave a tip of 20% of the amount of the bill. What is the amount in dollars of one tip? One of the tip Hannah gave. Okay. Order was $50 and give a tip of $20 of the tip. We just need to find the amount of the tip. We do not need the total amount. So a lot of students might make this wrong, might do it wrong by calculating total amount. 10 plus 50 is equals to 60, but we need what is the amount in dollars for of the tip Hannah gave. We just need the amount for the tip. For these kinds of questions, what I suggest is try to read it, try to be very careful with what you are reading. A lot of students make mistakes. Math section is usually easy for the first part, and few questions only are difficult, kind of difficult on the second part. So yeah, if you read carefully, you won't make silly mistakes. 5 uh, Ertemochelys imbricata, a type of sea turtle, each have a nest. The table shows an original dataset of the number of eggs that each turtle laid in its nest. Nest number of eggs. A sixth nest with 121 eggs is added to create a new dataset. Which of the following correctly compares the means of the two dataset? Okay, we are adding a new basket, a new nest with lesser number of eggs. So mean will shift towards, mean will decrease. Mean of the original dataset is greater than the mean of the new dataset. This is the right answer. The mean of the original dataset is less. No, it will be more since we are adding a basket with less number of eggs. Are equal, it will not be equal. There is not enough information. There is enough information. So yeah, for this it's very easy. If you just check it one by one and match it with whatever comes there. This is not the right answer. Plus, this is also not the right answer. Minus, if I change this, this is the right answer. And usually in these kinds of questions, the answer is the last one. The answer is choice D. They usually do it. I do not know why they do this, but they do this. Next, which expression is equivalent to this? So 8x cubed minus x cubed. So we need 7x cubed, and 8 minus minus 2. 8 plus 2. So 8 plus 2 is 10. 7x cubed plus 10. In the xy plane, line T passes through points 0, 9 and 117. Which equation defines the line T? First of all, we need to find the slope, or you can do it in Desmos using this. If you know already, please do it. If you do not know, look here, you need to add a table, and what you need to do is write the x value and the y value. Write x1 and y17, and what you need to do is we are using regression. So write, this is a general thing, right? Y1, since this is y1, and a regression symbol, the click shift and the key below the ESC button, a symbol like this, shift plus the key below the ESC button, left side of 1, write this, and a normal expression mx1 plus c, uh, a general linear equation. And what you get here is the equation: m is 8, c is 9. So m is 8, c is 9, y is equals to 8x plus 9. This is the right answer. Or you could just find the slope: 17 minus 9 upon 1, which is 8, and 0 comma 9, this is the y-intercept. So this would be the right answer. You could easily do it, but I just wanted to do it this way. Right, what is the solution to the given equation? Okay, if you were to solve this equation, what I suggest is do this: write x instead of d, x plus 30 minus 7, and y is equals to minus 7 for the right hand side and the left hand side. And if you look at this, you will find a solution that is 30. 30 can be a solution. Yes, it can be a solution. 30 can also be a solution. Can minus 30 be a solution though? Minus 30 can also be a solution. We can just write any solution. So I write 30, I'll write 30. So if we were to check it, this will be 0. If it's 30, this term will be 0. 0 multiplied d plus 30 would be 0. So 0 minus 7 would be minus 7. Yeah. A store sells two different sized containers of blueberries. The store sells of these blueberries totaled $896.86 last month. The equation for 4.51x plus this represents the situation where x is the number of small containers sold and y is the number of large containers sold. What is the price in dollars of each small container? So number of small containers sold is x, and where we get the total price here. Number of large containers sold is y. So the coefficients will be the price per container. So we need for the small container, which is x, and the coefficient of x is 4.51. The function f models the intensity of an X-ray beam in the number of particles in the X-ray beam T millimeters below the surface of a sample of iron. According to the model, what is the estimated number of particles in the X-ray beam when it is at the surface of the sample of the iron? So this is the value below the surface of the iron, and if it is exactly at the surface of the iron, it will be 500. Or will it be 500? Let me read the question again. The function f models the intensity of an X-ray beam in number of particles in the X-ray beam T millimeters below the surface of a sample of iron. Okay, T millimeters below. According to this model, what is the estimated number of particles in the X-ray beam when it is at the surface? At the surface, T will be equal to 0. So 0 over 12 will be 0, and 0 to the power 0.5 to the power 0 would be 1. So 500 would be the answer. The graph of the rational function f is shown where y is equals to fx and x is greater than or equal to 0. Which of the following is the graph of y is equals to fx plus 5? We need fx plus 5. So y values should increase. For example, let me choose a random point. The point 3. 3 is 3. 3 comma 3 is the choice. But for our new graph, the coordinate for x value, the fx should be 3 plus 5, that is 8. So for x value of 3, the y value should be 8 in our new graph. So in our new graph, the x value of 3 should have a y value of 8. This is the right answer. The given equation relates the positive number p, n, and c. Which equation correctly expresses c in terms of p? We get p over n here, and if we take c to the other side and 19 to the other side, it would be 19 minus p over n. This is the right answer. The length of each edge of a box is 29 inches. Each side of the box is in the shape of a square. The box does not have a lid. What is the exterior surface area in square inches of this box without a lid? The length of each edge of the box is 29 inches. Okay, the box is in shape of a square, so it's a cube. A cube without a lid. The box does not have a lid. What is the exterior surface area in square inches of this box without a lid? Total number of sides in the cube is 6, but without a lid it's 5. And what is the area of one of the sides? 29 times 29, since it's a square. We have length and breadth equal, so 4205 is our total surface area. What is the sum of solutions to the given equation? So what are two solutions? Let me do it using this. I have never done it using Desmos, but let me try it. Is equals to 63. The two solutions are what is happening, 27 and minus 9. Let me check. If 27 minus 9 is 18 and plus 45 is 63, it's correct. And minus 9 minus 9 minus 9 minus 9 is minus 18, and since it's inside the modulus it's 18, so 18 plus 45 is 63, it's correct. So minus 9 and 27 are the answers, so the sum would be 27 minus 9, that is 18. Also 18, 27 minus 9, yes. What is the value of tan? For these kinds of questions you could easily do it using a calculator. Tan 92 pi over 3, close your brackets, not there, close your bracket here, it's negative this much. Let me check with each one. Negative root 3 is, does this match? It matches. The first choice is the correct choice. Let me check it again. Yeah, it's the same, so this is the correct answer. Now, which expression is equivalent to 42a upon k plus 42ak, where k is greater than 0? Okay, for this we can just do it in a way. 42a plus 42ak squared, when we take LCM of k and upon 1, so upon k, it would be upon k, 42a plus 42ak squared. And if we take 42a as a common term, 1 plus k squared would be the final answer. So 42a, 1 plus k squared upon k would be the final answer. The graph of the given equation is a circle in the xy plane. The point AB lies on the circle. Which of the following is a possible value of A? So the center is minus 4 comma 19, since the general expression for a circle is x minus h whole squared plus y minus k whole squared. We need minus, and h comma k is the center, so since this will be this is plus 4, we need to compare plus 4 with minus h, and if we compare this with minus h comes out to be minus 4, and h is a in our case, so a is minus. The point lies on the circle. Sorry, the point lies on the circle. So this point should be inside the circle. For this, what we need is not the center, but for squared, we can just plot the circle. 19 squared is equals to 121. This circle must have been plotted somewhere right here. And if we were to choose a random value, say the y values should be between 8 and 30, and the x values should be between the x values should be between we do not know the maximum x value, but still 8 and 30, and the x value should be around here, which is, yeah, minus 15 is the x value, the maximum x value, and 7 is the maximum. Some minimum x value is minus 15, maximum is 7. So 7 and 15, a possible value of a should be between 7 and minus 15, and the only value between 7 and minus 15 is minus 14, since if it's minus 16 it will go around here, if it's 11 it will go here, if it's 19 it will go here. Yeah, so minus 14 is the right answer. A right rectangular prism has a height of 9 inches. The length of the prism's base is x inches, which is 7 inches more than the width of the prism's base. Which function v gives the volume of the prism in cubic inches in terms of the length of the base of the prism? So height is 9 inches, length of the prism's base is x inches. It's a rectangular prism, right? So length is x inches and width is x minus 7 inches, since width length is 7 inches more than the width. So x minus 7, x, and the height is 9 inches. So the right answer would be length times breadth times height. So length is 9, length is x, breadth is x minus 7, and the height is 9 inches. X, and which is yeah, so 9 times x minus 7. The function f is defined by fx is equals to a root x plus b, where a and b are constants. In the xy plane, the graph of y is equals to fx passes through the point minus 24 comma 0, and f24 function of 24 is less than 0. Which of the following must be true? The function fx is this, where a and b are constants. Okay, this is not a linear function, not a function we do recognize easily. The graph of y is equals to fx passes through the point minus 24 comma 0. Which of the following must be true? We need to look at it more carefully. The function f is defined by fx is equals to a root under x plus b, where a and b are constants. Okay, in the xy plane, the graph y is equals to fx passes through the point minus 24 comma 0. So the y value is minus 20. When the y is minus, when the fx is 0, the x is minus 24. And we also know that when x is 24, since f of 24, the function, that means y or fx, is less than 0. So which of the following must be true? We need to do it, we need to think more on it. If I put the value of fx as 0, then we get 0 equals a root under minus 24 plus b. A root under minus 24 plus b. And if I do f of 24, then we get a root under 24 plus b. So a root under 24 plus b is greater than 0. This part is greater than, sorry, it's lesser than 0. It's less than 0. So this means that uh, root under 24 plus b can't be equal to 0. This can't be 0. A can't be 0. And also b can't be negative 24, since root under 24 plus b cannot be 0. So b can't be negative 24. Since this value needs to be less than 0, this value needs to be lesser than 0, uh, and for the previous equation to be equal to 0, we can infer that b should be, b could be 24. B could be 24. And if b could be 24, then f of 0 is simply a root under b, right? A root under b is f of 0. Can a root under b be 24 or minus 24? For okay, let's go to f of 24 part. Since f of 24 is less than 0, a root under 24 plus b will be less than 0, meaning that either a has to be negative, a has to be negative, or root under 24 plus b has to be negative, which is not possible. So a has to be negative. A is a negative term. We know that. At least we know a is the negative. A is a negative term. And if a is a negative term, then it can't be 0. So b has to be equal to 24. From the initial equation, 0 is equals to a root minus 24 plus b. A has to be equal to a negative term, and for this equation to be 0, root under 20 minus 24 plus b has to be equal to 0. That means b has to be equal to 24. And since b is 24 and a is a negative term, we know that b is greater than a. Yeah, if you did not understand this, please write it in the comments section. I might be able to do, I could not show it in a screen right now. I did it in my board. I could not do it in a copy. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about this answer, but this is what I inferred. So let's go to the next section. Yeah, you need to try to hurry up during part 2, since a lot of students chill out during the initial phase and cannot normally finish the last part, which are usually difficult questions. A right triangle has legs with 11 unit centimeters and 9 centimeters. What is the length of this triangle's hypotenuse in centimeters, which is 11 squared plus 9 squared, and that's root under 11 squared plus 9 squared is this much. If I do not know this, 202 root 202 is the right answer. For the linear function h, the graph y equal, does this arc the hypotenuse? It does arc the hypotenuse. For the linear function h, the graph y is equals to hx in the xy plane passes through these points. Which of the following defines x? So again, we could use a table here. 7 and 21, then 9 and 25, then y1 should regression mx1 plus c. If you do it, it's y is equals to 2x plus 7. 2x plus 7, yeah, y is equals to 2x plus 7. A company that produces socks wants to estimate the percent of socks produced in a typical week that are defective. A random sample of 310 socks produced in a certain week were inspected. Based on the sample, it is estimated that 12% of all socks produced by the company in this week are defective, with an associated margin of error of 3.62%. Based on the estimate and associated margin of error, which of the following is the most appropriate conclusion about all socks produced by the company during this week? Not really. This is the margin of the error, not the actual socks that were defective. Plausible that between are defective. Yeah, this is the right answer. 12 plus 3.62, 12 minus 3.62. And margin of error means you need to add and subtract from the estimated percent or the number. A truck can haul a maximum weight of 5,630 pounds during one trip. The truck will be used to haul 190-pound piece of equipment as well as several crates. Some of these crates weigh 25 pounds each and others weigh 62 pounds each, which inequality represents the possible combinations of number of 25 pounds crates X and the number of 62-pound crates Y. The truck can haul during one trip if the only the piece of equipment and crates are being hauled. This is a very common question. The total pound it can carry is 5,630, so the amount should be less than this. So the LH, the left hand side should be less than the right hand side. It should be less than the right hand side, so it's either A or C. And since the truck is carrying 25 and 62 pounds of crates, and initially the the truck will need a 190-pound piece of equipment. The total amount is 5,630. We need to subtract the initial equipment weight with the capacity, so this will be the right answer, since 5,630 minus 190. Okay, what is the solution to the given equation? We can easily use Desmos for these kinds of questions. 9x equals 13, 5x equals 2y, which is minus 2 comma minus 5. This is the right answer. What is the range of the 7 scores shown? The minimum value is 23 and the maximum value is 52, so range is 52 minus 23, which is 29. Again, let me check. 52 minus 23. Yes. This is given in ascending order right now, but sometimes it may not be given in ascending order. 23 might be hidden somewhere up here, or the smallest number might be hidden somewhere up here. So you need to be very careful with finding the smallest and the largest number in order to find the range. Two customers purchased the same kind of bread and eggs at a store. The first customer paid $12.45 for one loaf of bread and 2 dozen of eggs. The second customer paid $19 for 4 loaves of bread and 1 dozen of eggs. So for these kinds of question, you could easily do it in Desmos. You will have to assign X or Y to either bread or eggs. Let me assign bread X and Y to the eggs. So X plus 2Y would be equal to 12.45. This is for the initial customer. The total amount paid for the bread plus 2 times unit cost of the eggs, and unit cost for 1 dozen of egg is Y. Is the total amount is 12.45. And again, for 4 loaves of bread, which is 4x, plus 1 dozen of eggs, which is Y, the total amount is 19.42. So the intersection point is the amount for x and y. We need the amount for y. So 4.34 is the right answer. Y is x. We assigned x, y, and this is the intersection point. Yeah. If the equation are graphed in the xy plane, how many? Again, you could easily use Desmos for it. This is a simple option. This is either 2 or 1 or 0. It can't be infinitely many, since this is a linear equation and the second one is a quadratic equation. And if we put the value 18, 3, 3, 1, minus 1. Okay, I think it's 0, but still you could easily do it in Desmos. Y is equals to minus 3 uh, x minus 18 whole squared plus 15. If you look at the graphs, there's no intersection point. The intersection point, the graph, the straight line is above it, so no intersection, meaning 0. A solution to the given system of equations. You need to hurry up, you might relax right now, that thinking 27-28 minutes remain, but for the last 6 questions it will take a lot of time. uh, that solution to the given if you have not practiced and might need to think through some of the questions, might need to think in the exam hall itself. A solution to the given equation, a given system of equations x y, what is the greatest possible value of x? Again, Desmos king, Desmos is our savior right now. 16x plus 63, which is, what can be the solution? Minus 63 and minus 90. Minus 6 is the solution, since x, the possible values of x are minus 6 and minus 3, no option for minus 9, so yeah, minus 6 is the right answer. In the xy plane, line P has slope minus 5 3 and the x-intercept of 6 0. What is the y coordinate of the y-intercept of the line P? Okay, for these kinds of question, you can easily write in the form y is equals to mx plus c, which is y is equals to minus 5 over 3 upon x plus c. Or what you need to do is, uh, in the form y minus y1 is equals to m x minus x1. This is the general term equation when you have a slope and one of the points. So y minus 0 is equals to minus 5 over 3 x minus minus 6, which is minus 5 over 3 x plus 6. Y is equals to minus 5 over 3 x plus 6. And for the y coordinate of the y-intercept, for y-intercept we have x as 0, so minus 5 over 3, 0 plus 6 is minus 5 over 3 times 6, which is minus 10. So minus 10 is the y-intercept. Yeah, I need to check it again, so I'm just marking it for review right now. How many solutions does the equation 12 this have? If the equations are basically the same, they have infinitely many solutions. If they are two different lines with same slope, they have 0 solutions. And if they are two straight lines with different slope, they are uh, they have one solution. There can't be two solutions for a straight line. They can't intersect at 2 points since they are a straight line. But you can easily do it in Desmos again. Y is equals to 12. You do it 12 x minus 3 as one solution, and the next y is equals to minus 3 x plus 12, and since we can see that these points do intersect at one point, this equation has one solution. Koilani used fabric measuring 5 yards in length to make each suit for a men's. The relationship between the number of suits that Koilani made X and the total length of the fabric that she purchased Y in yards is represented by the equation Y minus 5 yards 5x is equals to 6. What is the best interpretation of 6 in the context? Okay, X is the total length of fabric. No, X is the number of suits, Y is the total length of fabric, and 5 is the length that is required to make one suit. So this means that 6 yards of fabric remains after she has made all the suits. So purchase 6 yards more fabric than she used to make the suits. Yeah. What is the which quadratic equation has no real solution? Again, you could do it in this most easy. X squared plus 14x minus 49 is equals to 0. This does have a solution. Let's not do it 0. Oh yeah, this equation does have a solution. Phi 1 is not the answer. If I change this and this, this does not have a solution. This does not have x solution. So if we this would disappear if you were to do this equals to 0. So B is the right answer. Let's check others as well to see how do you know if it's a solution or not. Oh wait, I think I missed something here. 2x. Oh, so this is a solution. B is also a solution since it is crossing the x-axis. 5x squared minus 14x minus 49. This is also a solution since there are 2 points which crosses the x-axis. And finally, plus 49. It's not a solution since there are no points that crosses the x-axis. So this is the right answer. For these kinds of questions in which you have to check each one by one, I suggest start with the end because D is usually the answer in these kinds of questions. I don't know the reason. The function f is defined by the given equation, which can be rewritten as fx. This p is a constant, which is the following the closest value of p. So what we need to do is compare by making the power same. One of them has power x over 4 and other has power x. So we need to do 1 over 1.84 to the power 1 over 4 in order to make the powers to the term to the power of x. 1.84 to the power of 1 over 4, which is this much. Okay, and if we were to compare this answer, if we were to compare 1.16 4674 to 1 plus p over 100, we would do minus 1. And if we do minus 1 and then times 100, we would get an estimation for p, which is times the 100 is 16.46. That is equal to 16. That can be estimated to 16. And what is in the given system of equations? P is a constant. If system has no solution, what is the value of P? Okay, for these equations to have no solutions, we need to have the slope. We need to get a constant. We need to have the same slope. So let's assume R to be X and W to be Y. PW is equals to 7R plus 6. W is equals to 7 over PR plus 6 over, and for the next part 7R minus 11 is equals to 10W. W is equals to 7 over 10R minus 11 over 7. 11 over 10. So 6 over P should be equal to minus 11 over 10. Hence P being 60 minus 60 over 11. If P is minus 60 over 11, I think these equations will have no solutions. But let me check again. 6 plus 7x is equals to minus 60 over 11 y. But here not 11 and y. Yes. And minus, sorry, 7x minus 5y is equals to 5y plus 11. Like this, it does have a solution. So what I am going to do is assume w to be x and r to be y. That way I can do r is equals to pw minus 6 over 7 and compare it with the term under the second equation. 7r is equals to 10w plus 11, which is r is equals to 10 over 7 w plus 11 over 7, and term is 11 over 7 is equals to, okay, I'm not sure about this question right now. In the given, let's come to it later. This should have been easy if there were x, if these were x and y, but it's r and w, so kind of difficult. Need to refresh a little bit. What the graph y is equals to 2x squared plus bx plus c is shown, where b and c are constants. What is the value of bc? Okay, in these kinds of questions, again, you could easily do it using Desmos. For example, bring a table here, find the coordinates -1 and -8, -2 and -6, and then 0 and -6 again. If again regression, using regression, y1 like this, ax1 you need to square it plus bx1 plus c. Okay, if you do this, you get abc as 6 2 4 6 2, a is 2, bc is 4 times -6, which is -24. 4 times -6, 4 times -6, -24 is the right answer. The graph of the linear function fx plus 19 is shown if c and d are positive constants. Which of the following could define f? Okay, so the graph is fx plus 19. For the function f, it has to be these values minus y value, right? And the slope. If we, for example, if a graph was transported upwards, would the slope change? No, the slope would not change, since it is just being translated directly vertically upwards. For that reason, if c and d are already positive, and even if we change the vertical height of the graph, this has to be same. So c, which is the slope, has to be positive, which means one of these is the right answer. Again, d is the y-intercept of the graph, and since this graph is showing 3 to be the y-intercept, which is fx plus 9, if x were 0 in the original fx graph, it would be, the graph would have to be taken downwards, which means d needs to be negative. So minus d plus cx is the right answer. If you again do not understand, please tell me in the comments, although I don't think anybody will be watching this. In the figures shown, AB is equals to root 34 units, AC is equals to 3 units, and CE is equals to 21 units. What is the area in square units of triangle ADE? ADE, AB root 34, AB is equals to root 34, AC is equals to 3, and CE is equals to 21 units. What is the area in square units of triangle ADE? Okay, for these, this is also a very common pattern in the second part of the question, that is considered usually hard. You need to have the concepts of similar triangle in these types of question. You get AB, you have AC, you can easily find BC, which is 34 root 34 whole squared minus 3 squared, that is 34 minus 9, which will be equal to 34 minus 9 is 25, and root under 25 is 5. So you get BC as 5. And if you consider similar triangles ABC and ADE, you can put on the ratio AV over uh, what do you need to find the area? You need DE and you need AE. So let's do for AE and DE. DE over DE over uh, BC is equals to AE over AC. And we know that AE is equal to AC plus CE. We know both 3 plus 21, which is 21, 22, 23, 24. 24. AE is 24. Now, if you compare the ratio, DE over BC is, we found BC to be equal to 25, sorry, 5. BC is 5 units is equals to AE is 24 units and AC is 3 units. So DE comes out to be 24 over 3 times 5, which is 40. So DE is 40 and 40 times AE, which is 24 over 2 is our answer. 480 is the area. 1 by 2 B into H, the base into the height. The result of increasing quantity x by 400% is 60. What is the value of x? So x plus 40, 400 by 100, x is equals to 60, right? So what is the value of x? X is 12. Right. The result of increasing quantity x by 400% is 60. X plus 400%, 400 by 100 times x is 60. So we get x is 12. If you were to check it, 12 times 4, which is 400 by 100, plus 12 is 60. In the xy plane, a circle has center C with coordinates h, k. Points A and B lie on the circle. Point A has coordinates this, and ACB is a right angle. What is the length of AB? Okay, center and A and B lie on the circle. It lies on the circle. It does not tell on the circumference, but it lies on the circle. And point A has coordinates this. ACB is a right angle triangle. Is a right angle. What is the length AB? If we were to do this, if we were to draw it, please try to listen carefully. The center is h, k, right? And if we consider h, k to be, for example, 0, 0, then position A would be 1, 102, root under 102. Since it's like, for example, while plotting 0, 0, while plotting 1, 2, we do 0 plus 1 and then 0 plus 2 for the y value. Similarly, if h, k was 0, 0, we would do h plus 1 and k plus root under 102 to find a. So 1, root 102, right? And also, since this is a right angle, this is right angled, and the length is similar, what we need is uh, okay, so the distance from h, k to the point A would be the radius, which will be 1 root 102 minus 0 whole squared plus 1 whole squared, which would be 102 plus 1 under, which is 103. Root under 103 would be the distance. And if we were to find the hypotenuse, that is AB, it would be 103 whole squared plus 103 whole squared root under, and that would be 206. Root under 206. Root under 206 is the right answer. If you again do not understand my yapping, please try to comment down below. I would try to answer how it came to be. I cannot draw the coordinates, but let me try it. First, let's say x minus 0 and y minus 0 is equals to 5 was uh, 5 was the circle. If this was a circle, and let's say a point lies somewhere here, right? A point lies somewhere here. That point would be h plus 1 comma k plus 102. Since h comma k is 0 comma 0 in this here, we get that this point would be 0 plus minus 1.65 comma 0 plus 1.531 for y value, and you get this point, which, and you can easily find the distance between this, the coordinate I'm plotting, and 0 right now using the distance formula, let's say. And or you could have other methods as well. This would be the radius, and if you find the radius of this radius, you can find this radius, and if you know the distance to b will also be same, since it's also the radius, and it would be an isosceles right angle triangle, and you can easily find the hypotenuse if you know the b and the h, which are 103 root under 103. For an electric field passing through a flat surface perpendicular to it, the electric flux of the electric field through the surface is the product of the electric field's strength and the area of the surface. A certain flat surface consists of two adjacent squares, where the side length in meters of the larger square is 3 times the side length in meters of the smaller square. An electric field with strength. Okay, a lot of words. A certain flat surface consists of two adjacent squares, right? Two adjacent squares. There are two adjacent squares. Uh, of the larger square. Okay, larger square is, if the larger square is 3x, then the smaller square would be x. And of the smaller square with strength 29.00 volt per meter passes uniformly through the surface, which is perpendicular to the electric field. If the total electric flux of the electric field through this surface is 4640 volts per meter, what is the of the through the larger surface? Okay, we need to find the initial formula right now. Electric flux of the electric field through the surface is the product of electric field strength, which is 29 in this case, times the area of the surface, which is area, right? For this bigger square, the area is 3x whole squared, that is 9x squared. For the smaller, it's 9x squared. So the total area would be 9x squared plus x squared, that is 10x squared, right? So 29 times 10x squared is equal to 4640 volts. So 4640 volts divided by 29 290, and root under 16 is 4. So x is 4. X is 4 is our is the length. And if length is x, if length is 4 of then the length of the bigger square is 3 times 4, which is 12. And 12 times 29 is what is the electric field strength passing through the bigger field. So it's uh 12 times 12, since it's squared, so 4176 is the answer. The scatter plot shows the relationship between two variables x and y for dataset E. A baseline of base fit. Dataset F is created by multiplying the y coordinate of each data point from the dataset E by 3.9. Okay. For these kinds of questions, you choose a point and multiply the y value of it. Which of the following could be an equation of best fit for dataset F? First of all, let's find the estimation of this line's slope, which is, or you could easily do it using this point 0, and if you were to find the y value, it would be around 15 13.5. 13.5 is the y value, and 13.5 times 13.5 times 3.9, right? Since y is multiplied by 3.9, it's 46.8. Hopefully 13.5 times 3.9 would 46 around, it's around it. 15, yeah, if we were to do 13, it's 50.7. So yeah, this one of these is the right answer. And if we were to know the slope, how would we find the slope of it? We could find it using 13, sorry, 35, 32, 33. 33, let's estimate the slope. 33 minus, I'm using this point right here. 33 minus, let's choose another point, which is this point. Okay, 33 minus, estimating it 27, around 27. 33 minus 27, and 33 minus 27 upon uh, this point, right? This point is 33, this point is 14, minus this point is around 10, 10, 11, right? 11. So the slope is around 2, and if we multiply 2 by 3.9, get 7.8. So it has to be 5.9x, since this is just an estimation, but you can't multiply something by, you can multiply 3.9 by 2 or something closer to 2 and get 1.5, right? So yeah, this is the slope of it. We needed to do this question. I think we are too late for it now, but still, in the given system of equations, p is a constant. If the system has no solution, what is the value of p? Okay, let's put w on the one side and r terms on another side. 6 plus 7r equals pw. Then 7r minus 11, 7r minus 11 equals 10w, right? 6. Okay, since both equations are basic, both equations okay, so if the value of p is 10, if the value of p is 10, then it would have same slope. This would have same slope, and yeah, okay, yeah, yes, it is 10. Since see here, right, minus 5w, if it goes here, it will be 5w plus 5w, 10w, and it's already 7r here as well. So if the term for p was also 10 and here is also 10, then this would have same slope. But since the uh, constant is 6 here and 11 right here, the constants are different, meaning there would be no solutions and both the lines would be parallel each other. So this is my answer. Why have I marked this? 5 minus 5 over 3 x-intercept. I think this is the right answer, but still, okay, this is also 10 and this is also 10. uh, okay, it seems the module is over. Thank you guys, if I do not think anybody is here still, but thank you very much if you are still are. Let's view the score. I will put a video of it as well to view the score. Okay, let's view the score right now.